Alyssa Bustamante seemed like a normal teenage girl to everybody around her, but that couldn't be further from the truth, as Alyssa was not normal by any stretch of the imagination. She had something dark and insidious festering inside her, which would only really come to light when, quite frankly, it was much too late. So Alyssa Bustamante was born on January the 20th, 1994, and she's a product of a romance between two teenagers with criminal records. Her mother had had run-ins with the law for minor crimes such as a DUI, drug possession, but her father's case was that of assault and was serving a decade-long sentence for his crime. Following her biological parents' criminal history, Alyssa's grandparents, who were Mormons, by the way, took her in and tried to give her a good life. And although Alyssa seemed like a normal kid with good grades in school, she really wasn't that normal at all. Apparently, Alyssa's father actually had been arrested for stabbing someone, according to a woman named Jennifer Meyer. And also, apparently, her mother had struggled with substance abuse issues, which could have possibly caused, the reasons why her grandparents had to step in when she was 7 years old. Obviously, this was quite a troubled upbringing for Alyssa, but nothing can really explain what started to grow inside her as time went on. Did you know that Alyssa actually had a YouTube channel and she exhibited some unusual behaviours compared to other people of her age? One of them was the fact that she self-harmed. And I know that happens to a lot of people who don't have like homicidal urges, but it was alarming when you look back at her past and how she handled her emotional pains by self-mutilating herself, and she even had several suicide attempts. Her grandparents, of course, were very alarmed and took her to see a psychologist, and she was placed on medication for depression and also, quite interestingly, for her quote-unquote psychopathic behaviour. But like I said, to the outside, in her everyday life, people seen her as troubled. But when you looked into her social media accounts, something much darker was going on. Like most people her age, of course, she was interested by social media, but the things that she posted could not have been considered normal. She had troubling write-ups that she posted and shocking videos on her YouTube channel, and she even confided in one of her friends on her curiosity about killing someone. One particularly troubling post was actually a YouTube video that she posted in which she was trying to get two of her brothers to try and touch an electrified fence. And also she did post saying that bad decisions make great stories, and listed her hobbies on YouTube and MySpace as killing people and cutting, which is obviously, quite unusual and quite disturbing when you think about it. And I'm sure other people had, access to her social media accounts that she knew. And I just wonder what people were thinking. Like, were you thinking that, that she was just trying to be edgy or trying to be weird? Because I don't know about you guys, but if someone was posting that their hobbies were killing people, on line, I don't know if I'd want to be their friend anymore. So it's kind of interesting when you think about it, that Alyssa had such a dark personality that was kind of flying under the radar. But it was on October the 23rd, 2009, just over a week before Halloween, that Alyssa Bustamante brought her darkest fantasies to light. 4 houses down from the Bustamante family lived 9-year-old Elizabeth Olden, and she often came over to play with Alyssa and her siblings. And on the night that unfortunately she took her last trip to go play with Alyssa and her siblings, she actually begged her mum to let her go. But what Elizabeth unfortunately didn't know is that 4 days earlier, Alyssa dug 2 grave-like holes, and the evening of October the 21st, she took this opportunity to, indulge in this horrific urge that she had to figure out what it was like to quote unquote kill somebody. And while Elizabeth was returning home alone, Alyssa lured her into the woods, brutalized, stabbed, and eventually sliced her throat. And thereafter she disposed of the corpse in one of the graves that she had dug previously. And when Elizabeth didn't return home from the Bustamante house at 6:30, her mother, Patty, knew something was wrong and panicked. She called her neighbours home and was told that Elizabeth wasn't there, but had left for home earlier. She then called the police, who quickly launched a search into the neighbourhood. But unfortunately, it was already too late. Police then searched the area without locating Elizabeth or her cell phone. And in the course of the investigation, it was discovered that during the time Elizabeth went missing, all the neighbourhood kids were accounted for except Alyssa. And they actually seized her diary and found some weird entries in it, which we'll discuss in a moment. And the teenager later confessed and took the police to the grave where she disposed of Elizabeth's corpse. Investigations also further revealed that the 15-year-old Alyssa was a thrill kill teen. And on the night of the murder, she made some entries into her diary describing her first human kill as quote unquote amazing and pretty enjoyable. Alyssa simply explained that her reason for the killing was just to get a feel of murder. And though the violent teen had already taken one life, on the bright side, authorities were thankful that her urge to murder more people was stopped, because like by the way that Alyssa was acting, it was almost as if this was going to turn into a serial killer kind of situation, because she was killing for the thrill of it. It wasn't like a crime of passion or some sort of long going feud. She literally killed for the thrill of it, which speaks to me a lot about the psychology of Alyssa Bustamante, which I'll talk about in a minute. Elizabeth Olten's death led to Alyssa's arrest and subsequent trial as an adult. And Alyssa was initially charged with first-degree murder, but her defence attorneys claimed that an abundance of the drug Prozac may have helped lead her to kill, which I don't know, I know a lot of people who take Prozac who don't go killing people. And however, the Missouri teen later pleaded guilty to the charge of second-degree murder and armed criminal action. And on February of 2012, she was handed a life imprisonment sentence at the age of 18 with the possibility of parole, which I don't know how to feel about that, if you ask me. Alyssa obviously showed that something was really wrong with her, and the whole point of not being granted parole is, if someone is a danger to society. I also want to talk about Alyssa's diary entry, the full diary entry that they found that was so incriminating is so disturbing, and it goes like this: I just killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them. Now they're dead. I don't know how to feel at the moment. It was amazing. Spelled AHMAZING, which is like the emo spelling from back in the day. Weird. As soon as you get over the quote unquote, oh my God, I can't do this, emo spelling again feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky right now though. Okay, I gotta go to church now. Is that not the most senseless thing you've ever read? As soon as you get over the, oh my God, I can't do this feeling, it's enjoyable. This is a human person. And that speaks to me a lot about what was going on in Alyssa's mind. She did confess to killing Elizabeth, of course, in court. There was no denying. And defence attorneys actually said that Alyssa's troubled childhood should apply leniency to the sentence, and that she shouldn't be tried as an adult. But I know in my channel, I talk about different people's backgrounds and what might possibly make people the way they are. But I just want to make clear that nothing ever excuses what these people do. It's obvious is that there's so many people that go through way worse than what Alyssa went through, and way worse than what, a lot of these other people went through, and turn out to be really amazing people, caring, empathic. They actually learn to be more empathic than someone like Alyssa, Like if you look at it, like even with the Jodie and Travis situation, Travis had the roughest upbringing, when you read about it. Jodie's wasn't as rough, really, from what I read. And, which one was the more quote unquote dangerous to other people? Well, we know now. So I don't really agree with that Alyssa, should have been granted leniency. The truth of the matter is she senselessly took the life away from another human being with no other motive than she wanted to know what it felt like to kill someone. Like, that is deranged, but not in the psychotic way, in the psychopathic way. Because even in the diary entry that she wrote, she didn't even name Elizabeth. She was just like, she talks about, I strangled them, I slit their throat. Not even personalizing it. It was just like she had, killed an insect or something. Like, it was so depersonalized, which shows that she had no sort of attachment to Elizabeth as another human being, which is, like quite clear an antisocial and psychopathic trait. And that speaks volumes to me in Alyssa's case. Alyssa, though, accepted the plea deal of second-degree murder to avoid the death penalty. And she actually, like I said, has the chance to get out on parole, which is just crazy. So one of the reasons I wanted to cover this case on my channel is that Alyssa sort of backs up that, theory that psychopaths in general can't really feel empathy for other people. It's typical of like a lot of the people I talk about in my channel, but Alyssa's motivation for murder was just for the thrill of it. It was a selfish motivation to have that power, which also, signals back to psychopathy and control over people, and to have that power over someone. She specifically chose someone who she was physically stronger than, and also that was very vulnerable. All I can say is that how this kind of thing happens is shocking to me, because you would never expect that a 15-year-old girl, would be so dangerous. And it's scary for everybody that these kind of monsters exist and could really be anybody. But some of the signs that like Alyssa was dangerous and psychopathic were nearly impossible to ignore. Like, I'm sorry, but if like someone I knew was digging graves out the front of my house, I'd start to be a little bit alarmed and pay maybe a little bit closer attention. And also combined with her YouTube channel talking about how she likes to kill people and, and other things like that. The signs were there that she was a dangerous person from the start. And part of me wonders why no one really picked up on it. But I guess that's really all, up. Only they can answer that, and it's nobody's fault but Alyssa's for what she did. But I just think it's interesting. And Alyssa to me is a clear-cut example of someone who's definitely a psychopath or a sociopath or something along those lines. Although, of course, right, big shocker everybody, she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And if you follow my channel, you'll know what's the difference between a psychopath and a borderline. A borderline is female, basically. I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, but sometimes that just annoys me. For other people with borderline personality, like as well, like why are they being thrown into people like Alyssa Bustamante? Like the no empathy part, like Alyssa showed no empathy, in her crimes and, to other people. And as well, when it comes to her masks, people were saying that she was a really nice kid and they would never expect anything like this. But did anybody watch her, like go to her YouTube or, see her digging these graves? Because to me, that's suspicious behavior. But this case is just really, it probably asks more questions than it answers. And people like Alyssa Bustamante, they deserve to be in prison, And as for a chance of reform, I don't know her, so I don't know. But when she spoke about the fact, when her motive was made clear, How do you come back from that? It's not as if she lost her temper or there was anything like even, Jodi Arias, you know, she didn't even kill for the thrill. She killed because she was a stalker and she was obsessed with Travis and she couldn't let him go. But this girl just killed to see what it was like to kill someone. How do you come back from that? Well, I don't know. But this case is crazy and I did want to bring it to you guys' attention, and it's quite a talked about one. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and what you think about Alyssa Bustamante. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.